Let's talk about did, don't, doesn't, and didn't. Very confusing. People misuse them, I should say, a lot of times. So this is the simplest definition you will see. If you understand this, you don't need anything else. These are the most common ways we use the above. Okay, what is did? Let's talk about did first. He, she, and Sam. This is, again, singular people being discussed here. When you say did, you want to use these wordings with did. Now, he did it, okay? Now, for example, someone is asking you, who broke the glass? He did it, she did it, or Sam did it. By Sam, we mean any person, any name could be used, Sarah, Bob, whatever you want to use. So with a singular person, he, she, Sam did it, did that, depending on how you're using the action. But I mentioned here no real action, which means you don't use a verb. Okay, don't use a verb here. Don't say Sam did swimming, Sam did eating, Sam did eat. No, the real action, the verb, does not go with did. It would be something that relates to the verb, like he did it, and we're assuming we know what is being discussed here. So the question, this is in the middle of the conversation. Someone asked me, who cooked the food? So Sarah did it. Now we know it's the food being cooked. We don't need to say Sarah did cook. That is incorrect. Okay? Now a question from did will be, did you do this? Did she do this? Did he do this? Did Sam? So with these kind of wordings, you can say did, and you can also use it with they, actually, with plural. Did they do something? And I'm just gonna put T small case here, lowercase, yeah. Did they? And here action is okay. Now you can use a verb here. Did they eat? Did they study? Did they swim? So when it's a question, you can use the action. When it's not a question, no real action can be used. Let's talk about our next word, don't. Now, don't has three explanations here. I don't like. Now here, you are using I, and you can also use a they. So I and they can be used with don't. You cannot use he, she, or Sam don't. That doesn't go there. I or they could be used, okay? And then you use the verb. You use the action. I don't like. I don't work. I don't eat, okay? And this is all in the present tense. So for example, I don't like to study, right? So that is the present tense, and you can use it with I and don't. You can also use it with telling someone what to do, okay? So please don't do. Now, if you say do, please don't do, then you cannot use an action. Please don't do eating. Please don't do cooking. No, you can say, please don't do it. Please don't do that. Now, if you do want to say action, then you say, please don't. Please don't eat. Please don't study. So the difference here is you're saying please don't, and here you're saying do. That's extra. Please don't do. When you say do, you cannot use an action. When you say don't, you can use an action. Now, if you're asking a question, it's going to be, don't you want to? Don't you like to? And then you can use action with that. Let me write it down here. Don't you want to eat? Don't you like to eat? So you can use actions with the don't. Let's talk about doesn't. Now, doesn't is different from don't because now here you can use she, he, or Sam. Again, in the question, you can also use she, he, or Sam. With the don't, we were saying I or they. Okay, but here, with the doesn't, you can say she, he, or Sam. Same thing. So you would say, for example, Sam doesn't, and then the action. Sam doesn't eat, Sam doesn't talk, Sam doesn't walk. Or sometimes it's not really an action when you say like to and want to, but it's a way of explaining what Sam is all about. So Sam doesn't like to, and then you put the action, doesn't like to eat. Sam doesn't want to eat. You put the action there. When you're asking a question with doesn't, it is, again, he, she, or Sam. So doesn't she like, doesn't she, let's say an action, doesn't she eat meat? Or doesn't she like to go out? Doesn't she want to party? Now here you're using action, like to, want to. You can use doesn't, and you're using he, she, or Sam. Finally, we are going to talk about didn't. All right? With didn't, you have to use I, he, or she. Okay? And then it is in the past tense, obviously, because it's didn't. You would use the action. I didn't eat. I didn't study. I didn't work. I didn't like to go to the party. I didn't want to go to the party. Again, depending on the situation, you can use either action, like to, or want to. When you make it a question, it's going to be didn't you. Now, I becomes you in this case, because you will not ask a question to yourself, didn't I? You're going to ask it to someone else. Didn't you, didn't he, or didn't she? You can use the action. Didn't you eat? Didn't she eat? Didn't you like to party? Didn't you want to party? And this is a question like, I thought you wanted to party, but maybe you don't want to. So didn't you want to party? It's a question asking that, I assumed you wanted to party, but maybe you don't want to. So didn't you want to party? Okay. So you can use these terms there. The big mistake people make is with didn't, they say past tense. So I didn't ate. I didn't worked. Please never do that. Okay. Didn't, you can see, is always a present tense action. So you won't say I didn't worked. You would say I didn't work. Okay? Now, what I'd like you guys to do is revise this video, because with my explanation, you will forget everything. Unless you practice, you will not learn. What you should do is revise this whole video. At the end of every explanation, pause it and make 3 sentences based on what I have just said. 3 sentences, 3 sentences, 3 sentences. And then you want to do it again as many times as you can, today, tomorrow, this whole week. That way only you will not miss the definitions of these terms. And again, super important because these are commonly mistaken when people are learning English. I hope that helps.